Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sane Minds, the Cohen testimony at Congress. Let's go ahead and go through this video here really quick. It's very short, just the highlights of what Cohen actually said and what type of evidence he's bringing, and then I'll go through some of the documents that he actually is giving to Congress as proof, and we'll go ahead and talk about them.
Folks, if there are impeachment proceedings, we're going to look back at today as day one. It's been that kind of bombshell day. There was the big news out of today's testimony, starting with Michael Cohen providing Congress receipts, hard evidence that the president was not just involved in an illegal hush money scheme to defraud voters during the election, but that he carried out part of that scheme as sitting president of the United States. Need the proof? Here it is. It's a check signed by President Donald Trump, very familiar signature, dated August 1st, 2017. It's one of 11 installments, according to Michael Cohen, to reimburse him for those illegal hush money payments made to influence the election. Cohen also testified that Mr. Trump called him up a year into his presidency to tell him to lie about President Trump's knowledge of those payments. And I haven't even mentioned the Russia investigation yet. Cohen said that the president wanted him to lie to Congress about the Trump Tower Moscow deal. Cohen claimed that Mr. Trump knew in advance about the WikiLeaks hacked email dump because Cohen said he heard Roger Stone brief him about it over speakerphone. And as far as the other investigations into President Trump, Cohen revealed that the Southern District of New York is actively probing the president on an undisclosed matter. To be clear, some of Cohen's testimony was exculpatory for the president. Cohen said he has no proof of campaign collusion with Russia, and he never witnessed the president do anything that might subject him to blackmail or extortion.
So this is the check here that Cohen is trying to say Trump is reimbursing him for his hush money payment that he made to Stormy Daniels, which, by the way, Cohen kind of, crossed his left feet over his right feet here. He said that this was a personal matter for Trump, which also wouldn't make it a crime. And it's even if it was something that he paid and you could try and say it's a campaign contribution, that's also a gray area as well. But let's get right to the matter of it, is that this check does not prove a thing. Michael Cohen has been Trump's attorney for 10 years, and it is not out of the ordinary for Trump to be giving him money, paying him, reimbursing him, which doesn't even say this is a reimbursement on here. It's just a check to him. That's all it is. So for Cohen to say, I have 1 check, 2 checks, 3 checks, 4, 11 checks, however many he said he had, that doesn't prove anything. It doesn't tell you what this payment is for. So right there, that's really just a stupid point. That's basically just saying, look, I was paid by Donald Trump. I mean, you were his lawyer for 10 years. Of course you have checks that were signed and dated and all sorts of things like that by Trump. Of course you would. And Cohen also talked about where Trump wanted to buy the Buffalo Bills and that he inflated his net worth by $4 billion to try and attain a loan for that. And this is the documentation that he provided that I guess Trump gave to the financial institute that he was trying to get a loan from. So you have 2011s here, Trump's net worth or total assets, about over $4.5 billion. Then you go to 2012, going up to $5 billion. Then there's the one that I think that he's talking about where it was inflated, which goes up to total assets over $9 billion. But if you look right above where it says total assets at, there is a brand value. And that is what Trump is putting in, or his lawyers, or whoever, wrote this up from his accountants, that there's a Trump brand value of $4 billion that is not in the previous years when you go through his financial condition statements. So that is where they're getting this $4 billion discrepancy from. Is that illegal? I really doubt it. I really doubt that Trump has an army of lawyers and accountants that's going to put something in that's illegal. Could the institute that he's trying to get a loan from simply look at it and say, you know what? It's hard to judge brand values and what your brand name is worth, so we're going to disregard that. They could have just done that. There's nowhere that says, oh, you have to accept that. The company looks over these statements themselves. And to put a brand value, like I said, how do you really put a price on that? So this could be totally legitimate. This doesn't have to be something that is nefarious. So right there, that's really not proof of much either. What does that actually prove? That Trump slapped a brand value on for one of his years of his net worth, the summary of his net worth there? What is that really saying? He's trying to say that he inflated it, that he did something illegal, which it doesn't look like that's the case here. So that's pretty ridiculous right there. And then we'll go to the WikiLeaks issue, where Cohen said Trump had talked to Roger Stone, that he overheard him in the Oval Office apparently, on speakerphone, that Roger Stone said that he talked to Julian Assange about how there's an upcoming DNC email publication, and that this happened before that became public, before this was published. When, if you look at WikiLeaks right here, their statement on Michael Cohen says that the WikiLeaks publisher Julian Assange has never had a telephone call with Roger Stone, and that WikiLeaks publicly teased its pending publication on Hillary Clinton and published the 30K emails of hers on 16th March 2016. So they're saying right there that that is wrong, that Cohen is either making something up and lying, or he is just misspeaking and not remembering something correctly. And as many people have pointed out, WikiLeaks has never had to make a retraction in one of their statements. They usually give something out, and that's directly from the source. They're not known for lying. So it's pretty ridiculous that Cohen is doing this, but not that surprising, considering that he's going to prison in New York State, which is very liberal when you get to New York City, that controls New York State for the most part. And it's not out of the realm of possibilities to think that Cohen isn't doing this to try and look good before a parole board. He's sentenced to 3 years. I doubt he will serve that. He will probably serve maybe a year, go before a parole board that is going to be liberally inclined, and I'm sure they're going to think about this testimony here condemning Trump when they consider if he's worthy of parole or not, which then he would get out and serve the rest of his time basically on probation. So Cohen's whole testimony is really nothing more than Trump's bad, Trump's evil, he's a racist. I mean, here, we'll go over one of his opening statements really quick.
Never in a million years did I imagine, when I accepted a job in 2007 to work for Donald Trump, that he would one day run for the presidency, to launch a campaign on a platform of hate and intolerance, and actively win. I regret the day I said yes to Mr. Trump. I regret all the help and support I gave him along the way. I am ashamed of my own failings and publicly accepted responsibility for them by pleading guilty in the Southern District of New York.
All right, so he's trying to say that he's a redeemed person. Trump's bad, Trump's evil, he sees that now. He was blinded before by money, whatever, and that he pled guilty, because he felt guilty or something like that. No, that's not the case. Almost no one's going to plead guilty because they feel guilty about something. It's because they have no other choice. And right here he's trying to say, oh, I'm just redeemed. That's not true at all. Here he is, once again, lying about things. And funny enough, the one thing he didn't lie about was that there's no collusion of Russia. But that also has a purpose as well, is that he couldn't very well come out now and say, oh, I got tons of proof of that. Let's say even if there wasn't, or I know things, because he doesn't. Mueller would have fried his ass if that was the case. So obviously he doesn't have that. So he had to tell the truth about that. He doesn't want to get another perjury charge, which the only reason why he even pled guilty to lying to Congress before was because they had him on tax fraud charges, something he couldn't fight. And many times what prosecutors will do is they will say, look, you'll plead guilty to both of these and we'll go easy on you on the sentencing. But if he would have said, no, I know I could fight the perjury charge, you can't prove that I lied. Well, guess what? They're going to get you on the thing they can prove you did, like the tax fraud, and they will throw the book at you for that. This is common practice in law. So they can get convictions on all of the charges. Nothing was dropped. But he's just a self-serving person. That's all he's doing right now. This isn't about a man on a road to redemption who sees his wrongs. This is someone who is very self-serving, who turned on someone who he's known for a very long time, and is just still serving only himself right now. That's all it is. He thinks he's going with the side that he thinks can help him. And right now, he knows he's going to prison. He knows which side is going to be, doing the parole hearings or perhaps getting him early release or something like that. That is what this is about. It's not about the truth or anything else like that. Because this guy is almost incapable of telling the truth unless it's to his advantage. Which obviously making up some things that can't be verified, like, oh, Trump talked bad about black people. Of course he's going to do that. If the Democratic Party wants him to do that, which he already admitted, started using Bill Clinton's lawyer, funny enough, and he's admitted that he had spoken to many Democrat officials before about what he was going to say, which is basically witness tampering, because they're asking him, hey, well, what are you going to say? Do you think that they didn't say, well, that's great, or no, don't say that, maybe you should say this instead? I mean, this is where it really goes to show you that if you're on the right side or the wrong side, depending on which way you're looking, that you can get away with a bunch of things. But all right, everybody, I just wanted to go over this testimony of Cohen. He said a lot of things that I just really didn't agree with, and I knew that he was lying, or there's little evidence or no evidence. Like that check, come on, man. You worked for Trump for 10 years. Of course you have checks signed by him. Okay, so Trump put down a brand value to get a loan on one of his financial statements or whatever. Big whoop. People have brand values. How do you even calculate that? And like I said, the bank or the institution that was going to give him the loan is under no obligation to accept that. They could say, you know what, we don't go with brand values because it's something that's so much up in the air. So, all right, everybody, I just want to let you know what's going on. If you'd like some new content, just go ahead and like and subscribe. Maybe comment down below. I'll go ahead and get to everybody as soon as I can. And as always, I appreciate it.